Hello, this is Ed Diaz. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I don't know if I had mentioned this to you or not before, but I have a really powerful financing strategy that will help you close more deals, whether you're on the listing side or on the buyer side. I might have mentioned this to you before, but this is so powerful, particularly nowadays with the rates being so low, that I wanted to really share the actual numbers and an illustration with you. And the concept is very simple, actually. I'm noticing that a lot of properties are actually not moving, either because maybe they are overpriced or because the listing went stale, that sort of thing, or expired. So here's the whole premise of this, that it actually makes more sense for the seller to give the buyer an actual credit for the buyer to buy down the interest rate than to lower the price of the actual property. And I'm going to actually show this to you here in the illustration, so follow my highlight. Let's just say that you were listing a property, or your buyer wanted to buy a property that's listed at $539,000. They're going to put 20% down. Their loan would be $431,200. 30-year fixed, 5%. Their payment would be $2,995.77. Well, the income to qualify for this loan would be $79,887.33. Let's say that this property is not moving. So, seller decides going to drop the property price by $25,000 down to $514,000. Same 20% down, but of course now it's 20% on 514, so the first loan would be $411,200. Same 30-year fixed, same 5% rate. Notice that the payment went down to $2,888.41. Also notice that the income to qualify went down to $77,024.28, roughly about $2,800 drop in income to qualify, and the monthly savings to the buyer would be $107.36. All right, not too shabby. But let's say we kept the price the same in order to close the deal. 20% down, just like in the first illustration over here. Loan amount $431,200, same 30-year fixed, except now the seller has decided that they're going to give a tax-deductible credit to the buyer of $12,000 as opposed to lowering the price by $25,000. That $12,000 goes to buy down the rate to 4.25%. Notice that the payment goes down to $2,802.24 a month. But also notice that the income to qualify went down by about $5,100 to $74,726.53. What does that really mean? That means that you have now opened up a bigger pool of qualified buyers because they need less income to qualify for this property. Let me tell you, in this economic environment, that $5,100 a year in extra income can and will put a lot of people out of the running for this type of property. But now that we opened it up, you have more qualified buyers, which means is that this property is going to move. But also notice that the monthly savings to the buyer is $193.53. It's a lot higher than the seller lowering the price by $25,000. If you just talk to somebody about this, and to your buyer or your seller, it doesn't really sound intuitive. It's actually counterintuitive. But when you show them the actual illustration, the numbers don't lie, takes away the emotion, and shows that this makes a ton of sense for both the seller and also the buyer. Now, one last thing I wanted to say about this. There's a little known fact, and you want to check with your CPA about this, that there is a loophole in the tax code that has not been closed that allows both the seller and also the buyer to write off that $12,000 seller credit to buy down the rate, because the seller's going to take it, of course, because they're giving it, but the buyer is going to also take it because it looks like they're the ones paying the money to buy down the rate. I have a lot more strategies to help you get more business. If you have any questions, please contact me. This is Ed Diaz again, First California Mortgage. My number is 415-368-1149. You'll notice here also my email address, ediaz@firstcal.net. Have a great weekend.